welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, cause Commander's number one. I've got both Sherman and Thunder with me today. We're gonna live brew one. Sherman, how you doing?
Doing stuffed up. Doing good, but stuffed up still. Oh, but yeah. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. I was looking at this Yuna, and it seems pretty mean. Thunder picked this Yuna, so Thunder, how are you doing? And yeah, how you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough few months for me. Trying to get a new job and get started and all that, and some other life events happening, which is not finished, but we'll get there. And yeah, I'm on the other end of the six stick to Sherman, so I just recovered from my throat issue and I'm feeling a bit better. So I'll go for a run tomorrow and see if I'm really better. That's how runners do it.
That's fair. That's a fair way. I'm glad you're on the mend. Slothy's out this week. That's why he's away. He's also sick. It's just the time of the year. I think everything finally warming up. Everyone wants to get a little sick, right?
Yep.
Always.
Never ends. I want to jump right into this one because this is such a cool commander that Thunder picked here. I love clerics in general. We'll say that. So, Thunder, do you want to take away this initial commander that we chose and what we're doing?
Sure.
Ooh,
Um,
sponsor first.
Oh yeah.
or
Sorry.
sponsor.
If
Yeah,
you
sure.
guys want any of these cards, go over to housecards.ca, promo code IT99. You're gonna get a great discount. All these Final Fantasy cards are they're it's already this best selling set, right? Because people want it. The artwork's cool. The people like the game. There's very good cards. It reminds me a lot of the Lord of the Rings set. It seems like they've really knocked it out of the park with this. So, like I said, go over to housecards.ca, promo code IT99. You're gonna get a great discount. It's going to support us. It's going to support a wonderful business, fast shipping, great stock, and throw stuff like this into your AI armor sleeves. And yeah, that's it. Those are our sponsors. Come over, hang out on Patreon with us, build decks just like this. And with that, Thunder. Now the Yuna.
Yeah. So, what I like to do when I'm building for my strategies is to very carefully read the commander to understand what exactly they do. So, I'll try that this time. So, the commander today is Yuna, Hope of the Spira. I don't know if that's how it's meant to be said. I didn't get to play Final Fantasy when I was a kid, but um, maybe one day. She's three, a green and a white. So a little expensive, and you'll need some ramp. But with the type of deck build that I think we're going to do today, you'll see that shouldn't be an issue. And she's a human cleric, so there can be some type related synergies there as well. Um, and she's a 3/5, so big defense, a little bit of attack, but she's kind of in that Voltron possibility because she can get big. Um, and her abilities are during your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. So in your turn, including herself, basically everything gets a bit of protection. You're going to be able to trample, so anthems will do very well here. And lifelink, so you're going to gain a ton of life, which pairs nicely with cleric related synergies. Um, we probably don't need things like overruns because she's going to give the trample for our creatures, but it's just one of those things that, like, when I'm looking at a card, I see, oh, she gives trample, so I don't need to give trample in the deck itself. It won't be necessary.
Yeah.
And then her second part there is at the beginning of your end step, return up to one target enchantment card um, from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So we must distinguish there because Yuna and enchantment creatures, and then her second ability is enchantment cards, so not specifically creatures. So she does a bit of recursion with the slight downside of a finality counter. So that immediately makes me think, okay, well, if a card with a finality counter leaves the battlefield, it gets exiled. Um, whether it's bounced or dies or whatever, I think it's just gone, right? So what we want to do with the finality counts is just get rid of it entirely.
Yeah,
Um, so there's not that much stuff that can help us with that, but I did find a couple items which might be able to do something. And maybe you guys know stuff that can help us with that, so that we can get that thing back again if we want to save it, essentially.
that's yeah. I was already starting to look at a few of the remove counters because you want to get rid of the finality as much as you can, right?
Yeah. So we might sacrifice a bit of synergy there, but I think it's useful. It might turn out that there's like only a few times where that will matter to us, because maybe just the fact that we get the thing back and get to use it one more time, maybe that's just enough value and we just don't need something else. So um, yeah, it'll be a small strategy probably.
Okay. What do we want to get into first? Do we want to get into some of our ramp to get some of the stuff out, or do we want to
So
meat and potatoes jump right into like enchantments and creatures?
the easiest, um, like from my golden template approach, is I usually start with what I consider primary strategies first
Okay.
because they're the easier ones to deal with. And typically, what you're looking for there is around 12 draw or advantage cards, 12 ramp cards, and 12 removal slash interaction cards. So that's
I don't
typically
put that.
what I aim for.
Okay. Let's
And
we have Enchantress, so that's an easy section to get into.
yeah,
So let's start off with our draw section.
yeah,
Do we have any enchantments like Mesa Enchantress?
yeah. That's one of them. I think I've got 11 things here, so we can probably find a few more, or think of a few more. But Misa Enchantress makes sense.
So we've got our
Um,
draw section here.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? What else do we want to grab in our draw section?
Okay, so maybe we can just like, because
Search
they're
and
all
trigger.
very similar, we can just preface that they're all basically doing the same thing. Yuna likes enchantment creatures more specifically because those are the things that are going to get the trample and lifelink. Misa Enchantress, it's not an enchantment, so it won't benefit from it, but it will trigger off the cast of an enchantment and draw you a card still. Um,
Yeah,
so
so we
yeah,
want someone like Eidolon of Blooms,
blossoms.
or sorry, Blossoms.
Alana
Blooms.
Blossoms. Okay. Whenever it
So
or
that's
another
going to be an
enchantment
enchantment
enters.
creature.
Yeah. So this one triggers on ETB essentially, and that's doubly powerful with Yuna because you're gonna recover enchantments out of your graveyard, and then it will trigger the Island of Blossoms as well, which is very good. Plus, it's an enchantment creature, which is great.
Yeah.
Enchantress's Presence, 2 and a green for just an enchantment. But whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. So another card advantage.
Yeah. We there.
Everyone's going to be probably. Oh,
You go ahead, Sir Sherman.
everyone's going to be like Sithis Harvest Hand. So that's going to be a green and a white. It's a legendary enchantment creature nymph. It's a 1/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life and draw a card.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a Duskmourn card that I think can work reasonably well here as well. Enduring Innocence, 1 and 2 white for an enchantment creature, Sheep Glimmer. Um, it's got lifelink. It's a 2/1, and whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. When Enduring Innocence dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. So it kind of self recurs itself, but if somebody does happen to destroy it, then it'll go to the graveyard and come back um, with a finality counter if you want with Yuna. So you can kind of recover it as well from the graveyard if it does get destroyed.
Yeah. Sorry for anyone on the video there. I was so enthralled with looking at cards for this list that I forgot to switch it over to the cards. It was just on nuts. I this is such a cool looking commander, so I'm already like on the side. I'm just like click 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 click.
Yeah.
I just
So then, I don't know if you've got another option there, Sherman.
There's plenty. So I'm just trying to figure out what goes with the theme, like the best. Like we have another one that's the obvious one is gonna be for for Verduran Enchantress for 1 double green. It's a creature.
I don't
It's
think you're
not an
allowed inside the
enchantment though. It's a human druid. It's 0/2. When you cast an enchantment spell, you draw a card. It's still like cares about enchantments, which is what matters. So, and if we load up a bunch of enchantments, like like casting for enchantments or creatures, that should basically be like an extra card draw for us. So
Yeah. So yeah, that's also great. If if
yeah,
we're
so
like,
we need 6 more.
I mean, there's a few more that are on cost triggers. So I think Satyr Enchanter, 1 a green and a white for again just a creature. Whenever you cast enchantment spell, draw a card. It's a 2/2. Um, and then there's another one that's really good for ETBs again, which is Citizen Champion. So 2 green for a 1/3, and whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under control, put a +1/+1 counter on Citizen Champion and draw a card. So it can get a bit bigger. And unfortunately, again, it's not an enchantment, so it doesn't benefit from the lifelink and the trample. But maybe there's ways we can remedy that by turning our stuff into enchantments, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look for those. I didn't manage to find any in my short research for this.
Yeah, I don't think anything turns something into an enchantment. Things turn into artifacts all the time. So,
Yeah, I think Dovescape, but it's blue, so it won't work here. I think that's what it was called. So there was some like blue white enchantment that makes everything an enchantment.
Oh yeah, in Enchanted Evening.
That's the one.
I wish that one was just available in here.
We're at 8, so we need 4 more. Okay, so here's a question: do we want repeatable card draw, or do we want like more instant speed card draw? Or you know what? Actually, no,
honestly,
that would help our opponent, not us. Never mind. Keep
honestly,
going.
hang on one second. I'm just trying to think the name here. There's I believe some mono white sagas.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just try to see what the name of that saga was. Because the one of them gives us nice card draw, and with the ability to repeat it, it's kind of nice here.
In the meantime, I think I'll just add in a spirited companion because it's just enchantment doggo, 1 and a white for a 1/1. When it enters, draw a card, and if it dies as a blocker, you get to cast it, and it draws you another card. So it's not bad. I'll type it in though.
I like that. Yeah, okay, you grab that one. Love Song of Day and Night is the one I was thinking here. Of Night and Day, sorry. Love Song of Night and Day is 2 and a white. It's a saga. You and target opponent each draw 2 cards, and I like that. It's gonna get us a bird token, which is gonna be something we're trying to make some creatures, and then you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures later on, so we can make some of them other bigger, and we can recur this pretty easy, right?
Yeah, and the bird is a flyer, which is important in many Enchantress decks because sometimes people forget to put stuff with reach or flyers. So
Okay,
Um,
hear me out here. I know this is a little bit more of a pricey card, right? And it's kind of the opposite of what Yuna does, but yet not. It's called um Femiri Enchantress.
Oh, yep.
Okay, it's a creature human druid. It's a 1/2. Now, its ability is whenever an enchantment is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So it's not things coming in, it's things just exiting. So it's like, okay, if someone tries to get rid of our stuff, or if we do have sagas and they're going away, this does allow us to draw a card.
I like that because we're gonna a lot of what I'm sitting here on the other screen just tapping away at is a lot of these enchantments that are gonna have a sacrifice ability. Like I'm looking at like a lot of like one of the ones I already want to throw on the list here is Font of Fertility. Let me show you guys this Font of Fertility here. This is a 1 mana green card. You pay 1 in a green, sack it, search your library for a basic land, put onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. That's a nice little piece of ramp, right? But I have a lot of these ideas that are throwaway. So I think the Enchantress works pretty good, especially if we get some sagas, we get some of that.
yep.
Let's throw that one in the list. I'm gonna throw this into the ramp.
Yeah, I've got an interesting thing, and it's might cause some debate, but uh, in a situation like this, I like cards that have like channel or a cycling ability on them, and especially if that helps us do something that we need. So, for example, Sunblade Samurai, it's a little pricey on the top end, four and a white for basically a 4/4 vigilance creature, which is decent, but it is an enchantment creature, which means it gets lifelink and trample, which is good. But its flip side is the channel ability, where you pay two and you discard it, and you get to search your library for basic planes, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle, and then you gain two life. So what I like about that is early in the game, you want to make sure you're hitting your land drops, so you just throw it into your graveyard. That helps you get your land, which helps you get to Yuna, which then gets the Sunblade Samurai back.
Yeah,
Because if you notice, she doesn't put a mana value limit on the enchantment itself.
yeah.
So
Any back, hey?
you could throw, there's this new one that's coming, Bahamut or whatever. It's like 9 mana or something, and it's like a saga creature or something in Final Fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and that you just could, if you have a way to discard. There's a few white enchantments that let you discard a card from your hand, and you get some tokens or whatever. You can just turf that in the graveyard, and then use unit to just put it out for basically free. So that's pretty crazy. And so we could leverage some kind of strategies like that if we want.
Yeah,
But yeah, like the Sunblade Samurai, I don't consider it ramp because it's really just tutoring you a plane specifically. I don't even consider it fixing. It's just making sure that you're getting a land to play in your next turn. So yeah, I see it as just I put it in my draw section because it's really just putting a card in my hand. But yeah, so
okay. I like
Okay.
that. In the draw section, I have an interesting one. How do you guys feel maybe about a Pursuit of Knowledge? It's 3 and a white. If you would draw a card, you can instead put a study counter on it. Instead, we've got tons of pretty reliable draw here. You can remove 3 study counters from this enchantment, sack it, draw 7. So we have a throwaway draw 7 if we skip 3 of our draws, which in this deck should be very easy.
it might be a bit overkill. I mean, we are playing the sort of enchantment sub theme here, and
Yep,
with all these enchantress effects, we're gonna fill our hand quite quickly. So
that's fair. That's fair.
just
I
with like
respect that.
single triggers. Um, so yeah, we can maybe have that as like a maybe, because it can be, but it might just be like it's a lot of draw. Like it's gonna fill your hand, and then what do you do?
Well, yeah, I guess yeah, we draw 7 and then we're gonna throw 7 away again. It's yeah, that's that. Let's go with more reasonable draw, I would say.
Yeah, but I
Bingo
mean,
is a traditional thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I think we're very close to the the 12. So maybe a couple more suggestions is good. And then we can
Like
maybe move on
for
to the ramp after that. But yeah,
yeah, like for now, like what we can do, like I see 11 for a draw. Like we can just throw in something silly like harmonize or something like that, just to fill it up for now,
yeah.
and then
It's
change it out later.
it's good to have a little bit of diversity because we're very like creature heavy here. And if somebody does something regarding the creatures, then you can lose a lot. But yeah,
Yeah,
another suggestion I can make there is another Final Fantasy card, Yuna's Whistle. It just because this is Yuna, so having her one of her namesake cards and might be nice to have. So it's colorless to green, instant, and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When you reveal a creature card this way, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the mana value of that card. So
I like that.
that could be good with Yuna. It's just kind of fits a bit, and yeah, I mean, if you're light or you're struggling to get a creature, maybe you get lucky and it's an enchantment creature, then it's like super synergy. So
all right, cool.
Um,
So I think that's pretty good for the draw section.
yeah, with our in the Sunblade Samurai thing, I think I want to put in the Greater Tanuki as well for that same reason.
exactly, yeah. But
Yeah,
that I put under the ramp because that puts the card on the battlefield.
I still threw the Sunblade into ramp because I still consider the other half a cultivator ramp too, right? So
Yeah.
it's
I
still
think
pretty nice.
it's just such a good card in this deck. With finally count or not, both of these cards are just this is exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, being able to get that free cast again, it's early ramp, and then that free cast later of a 6/5 enchantment is pretty great.
Yeah,
So the Greater Tanuki is
Yeah,
4 double green. It's a trample enchantment creature dog 6/5 with channel. It has 2 and a green. You discard it, search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then we're gonna shuffle.
yeah, very good in this deck.
Honestly, this seems like a really fun deck to
so
play so far.
we have a lot of creatures. We might as well throw in Karamitra, God of the Harvest.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think it'll be
So
pretty easy in this deck for her to be a creature. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so Karamitra, God of Harvest, for 3 green and a white. Legendary enchantment creature god. So it works with our enchantment section for Yuna. It's a 6/5. It has indestructible. As long as your devotion to green and white is less than 7, Karamitra isn't a creature. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may search your library for a forest or plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Since we have so many creatures already, we might as well just throw it in. It's just added bonus at this point in time. The only
yeah,
problem is it's a little pricey, but it's not too pricey.
yeah, it's. I mean, compared to some of the other cards that you could go in this list, that's okay. um, I got a pretty cool one, which I think would there's we'll get to that the other really good creature enchantments, but this is a saga. Uh, Yugan defends the temple with a J. 2 and a green for an enchantment saga. It's mythic, but it's not too expensive. Um, and on stage one, it's step one, I should say. Create a 1/1 green human monk creature token, so that can help you ramp. Then step two is put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So you can put it on the monk or or whatever the enchantress you've got on the battlefield, because they all need a little bit more toughness there already.
Hmm.
And then its third step is exile it and transform it. And the flip side is Remnant of the Rising Star, and I really like this side of it. Uh, for an enchantment creature now, which is exactly what we want, Dragon Spirit. It's a flying 2/2, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on that creature. So if you got any spare mana and one of your creatures come in, it now gets buffed. And that's really like later we'll have a section for like anthems and buffing up our creatures, boosting them up. This is like all the things we want. It's got a bit of ramp, it's got enchantment creatures, it's pumping the creatures, and then it's got one extra thing, which is as long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, Remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and trample. So then it becomes a 7/7 flyer, and um, you can just use this thing in the air just to hit hard. It's going to gain you 7 life. It's going to be pumping up other things that are coming in, and it's all that. So I really like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I say we throw it in for now and see where we're at here.
We got
That's
five.
such a. I've
Five
never
round.
played with this. It's such an interesting card.
Uh,
Question for you guys. Now, do you consider things like Junkai Naturalist like something that we would put under ramp or not?
Yes.
I'd say so,
Yes. Okay.
especially with how
So,
many enchantments we're already deep
Junkai
in.
Naturalist for a green and a white enchantment creature, human monk. So works with our enchantment part once again. Okay, the 2/2 has lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So it's a creature, it's enchantment, it goes with our theme. Hey, hey.
Yep. He's perfect.
Yeah.
And we might as well throw in a Sanctum Weaver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sanctum Weaver's phenomenal.
Yeah. So Sanctum Weaver, 1 in a green. It's a 0/2. It's an enchantment. It's a creature. It's a dryad. Once again, we're hitting our themes. You can tap it to add X mana of any one color where X is the number of enchantments we control, which is gonna be a lot at this point in time. Like, how many
Mm-hmm.
are we at? Good golly.
Yep.
We're at 13 enchantments and 14 creatures.
You guys can't believe how many tabs I have open with things I just want to throw in this deck already.
So give us something, Daniel.
So let's go into some more of the ramp stuff. I really like the sagas, so I want to throw in first off Birth of Melodus. So Birth of Melodus here is a nice cheap card. It's 1 and a white. You search its first saga, like first chapter. Search your library for basic planes, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Our second one is going to be to create a 0/4 colorless wall with Defender. And then our third is going to be gain 2 life. We're gaining life in this kind of a deck, right? So
Uh-huh.
nice and easy, repeatable later on if we need it. And then the other one I wanted to throw in there was Restoration of, I think it's Iganjo.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Restoration of, and that is where is this card? Oh, it's the Restoration. You guys knew what I was talking about. So this is another of those flip ones we're talking about. The first one is going to be search your library for basic planes, reveal it, put into your hand, shuffle. Number 2, you may discard a card, which is phenomenal for us. First off, I really like that ability to throw one of these bigger enchantments away, nice and early. You may discard a card when you do return target permanent with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So pretty easy to get one of our smaller things back if we need. But then again, being able to throw something like the even Karametra God of Harvests and get that back later on for free, great. And then its third section is going to exile it, return it, and it will be whenever Architect of Restoration attacks or blocks, you get a 1/1 colorless spirit. All enchantment creature or enchantment there. So nice and easy to ramp us some cards, throw some things into the grave because there's going to be some bigger ones, I assume, later on, right?
Yeah. So this is a pretty cool flip as well because it's got vigilance, and because it's an enchantment creature, it'll end up with lifelink and trample. So it's going to do a lot.
Yep.
We didn't pick any lower costed ramp, so maybe we want to put a couple things like Wild Growth and Utopia Sprawl in there. So Utopia Sprawl works here because like half your mana is probably going to be green at least, and there's going to be enough forests for it to go onto. And Wild Growth, it just makes green, but it doesn't matter what it gets put onto. Um, Utopia Sprawl, you have to pick your color.
Yeah, I like that.
We just need one more ramp.
Oh, we always need so
So
many more ramp.
maybe, I mean, there's a lot of options here. Maybe we want to do like a enduring vitality, or we want to do a Kalni Heart expedition. Um,
I like Colony
if
Heart
you
Expedition. That's a good one.
Yeah, so it's another cheap one. It has landfall. Whenever land enters battlefield under your control, you may put a quest counter on Colony Heart Expedition. And then when you've got 3 counters, then you can remove them and sacrifice it to search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tap, and then shuffle. So I like it because it's kind of like a Curse and Bird, Curse and Grip. What's that one? My mind is leaving me. Cultivate, but the green one as well. And Kodamas Reach, yeah. But it's putting everything on the battlefield, but it's only 2 mana, which is great. And we can get it back as well and get a second use out of it. So that's like 4 lands just for 2 mana, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It'll definitely get us to the commander.
Oh, yeah, like I said, you guys can't believe how many tabs I have open on this side. We've got what kind of a section do we want to go to next? Because I was thinking, we have something that gives our creatures trample and lifelink. I'm trying to think like maybe enchantments that are going to give us some creatures. How do we think about that?
So um, this is probably Daniel's brain working here. He's skipping over the interaction. So
The what?
yeah, so if we do removal and interaction next, then we can sort of finish off those primary strategies. That's the stuff that's like really makes the deck tick and fun to play. And then the last bit we'll get into will be 2 or 3 strategies of synergy stuff.
I have a few
Um,
pieces of removal here. Let me give you my first one that I really like.
yeah.
I
So
want to
let's do removal. Yeah.
I want to do this Sarah's Liturgy. Have either of you guys seen this card before?
I don't. I think I've heard of it, but I
Okay.
can't
So
can't place it.
so Sarah's Liturgy's 2 double white. During your upkeep, you may put a verse counter on it. You pay 1 white and sack it. Destroy up to X target artifacts or enchantments, where X is the number of verse counters on it.
Okay. All right.
We can get a few of these pieces back.
So you,
I Like I said, I
Yep.
got a few of them. I got a Seal of Cleansing as well.
Yep. And there's the green one that's Seal of Primordium. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, I'll put both those in, then I'll read them. Okay, so we've got both of our new seals here in our removal. So Cleansing is 1 and a white. You sack it, destroy target artifact or enchantment, which is again great to be able to bring back. It's 1 and a white. And then we have the 1 and a green version that does the same thing for destroying target artifact or enchantment. Again, a lot of options to be able to draw with this kind of thing too.
A very annoying one would be Dark Steel Mutation.
Oh, I don't like that. That is
So
Dark Steel. Okay.
yeah, so it's colorless and a green, colorless and a white for an aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature is an insect, artifact creature with base power and toughness 0/1 and has indestructible and loses all other abilities, card types, and creature types.
If
What's
we're
really cool is because our commander gives our enchantment creatures trample, we can just keep attacking into this person and that thing just won't die, obviously, but it also can't stop the damage. So,
I like that.
yeah.
I threw in on that theme Kenrith's Transformation, 1 and a green. So when it enters, draw a card. Lovely, replaces itself. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is an elk.
Somebody's going to be really peeved because you're going to target their commander with that all the time. And the moment the commander dies so that they can put it out again, then you get to play transformation again.
Yeah, you can bring it back, which is brutal.
hear me out, okay? Hear me out on this one, okay? This should kind of with the what we're going for in removal. I think this will count as removal in a sense. If not, it's just gonna help synergize. But we can kind of put it in there. It's gonna be Yena, Red Tooth Regent.
Yep.
Okay, because Yena, Red Tooth Regent, is a 2 for a green and a white. It's a 4/4 legendary creature, elf noble. For 2 mana, you tap it. Choose target enchantment you control. That doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't a legendary. If the token is an aura, untap Yuna and scry to activate only as a sorcery. So we have things like the Kendra's transformation. We have Dark Seal mutation. We have Seal cleansing. We have the Seal of Primordium. We can copy these and just distribute it, or like if we're copying the seals, we can sacrifice the seal, destroy something. We're still good to go. It's just repeatable in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put that in
I
the copy section.
Well, that's what architect would do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I put that one. Yeah, because there's a few things I have already on the copy list. I got a lot of tabs open. This maybe board's going to be immense.
Yeah, so I classify it as a part of the generators. Like when I'm trying to work out like what kind of secondary strategy I'm gonna call this, because sure we can say copy, and there will be a few like Calyx and and a few
Do we
others.
want to call it tokens?
But the reality is, what we're actually doing here is we're generating stuff, and generate could also imply I'm generating counters, I'm generating other stuff as well. So it gives it a bit more of a general name. That's just a subjective thing.
I'm going to change it to
Um,
generation and tokens.
yeah, but it's a good point that Sherman made there. Like it is extra removal as well. So good pointing that out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Daniel's brain already has undo on the list.
Which one's that one?
Oh wow, undo spirit dancer.
Oh yes, that
Sorry, like we're kind of going off
let's
topic for the interaction. But
let,
undo spirit dancer is a 4 and a white. Just because we're talking about like copying and all that stuff,
Hmm.
and Thunder's talking about explaining how the copying works and whatnot, and how it is removal and how it's not. So undo spirit dancer is a 4 and a white. It's a 3/3 creature core cleric. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, you may create a token that's a copy of it. Do this only once each turn. Okay, fine. We can do it
Yeah.
only once each turn. Not a big deal. Half our deck is going to be enchantments at this point in time, so we're doubling up everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and that works with Yena as well from the grave as well. So you can pick. I think uh, you may create. Yeah, so you can choose if you know there's something in the graveyard you want to make a copy of, then you'll just decide that that will be the one. So that's actually
Yeah.
a very good synergy.
I'm gonna quickly just throw I would just put this into a deck, Haven of the Harvest. I'm just gonna throw this into the land section here because it's just another enchantment, but enchanted creature gets 1/1 for each creature or enchantment you control, which is gonna be huge on our commander. And at a worst case, it's gonna be a extra land because our land section's so
Okay.
basic.
Yeah, just be careful of going too far off there. We must finish our removal.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
work removal. Do you have any removal suggestions for us here?
Yeah. So one of the things I'd recommend is we put at least 4 instant speed removal in here, so we're
Okay.
not just enchantments. So just the standard ones are probably fine. I'm gonna say Path to Exile because that one can give a basic land card as well if we need to, because we're gonna be able to create token creatures and use it on ourselves as well. But yeah, Path to Exile, I would recommend.
Okay, so let's do Path to Exile. I like Wilt. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. It also has a cycling.
Um, let's go for permanent more. I think because we already got those enchantments, they can target the enchantments and
Like
artifacts.
more Beast Within.
Yeah, so Beast Within, Generous Gift.
I never play those cards. Generous Gifts. Okay.
You're breaking his brain here.
Look, you got to be able to remove other people's lands, Daniel. Come on.
Now you're speaking my language. Okay, so we've got those over into the removal section.
Yeah, I like also throwing in Stroke of Midnight. I know some people don't like giving people things, but it's a 1/1 token. I mean, for their permanent. So
Yeah, I'll keep making that trade. I like that one.
Compared to a 3/3 beast or a 3/3 elephant, I think stroke Midnight's pretty good.
Yeah. You
might as well throw in something like a Crossing Grip as well.
Yeah, you could. You could. There's that other one that's
for that second.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a Crossing Grip.
Here is a question: would you consider throwing in a Karmic Justice or not? Just because Karmic Justice is very.
I think we're not doing enough of it.
So read the card so that everybody knows what you're talking about.
No. Okay, so Karmic Justice is a 2 and a white. It's an enchantment. Okay, now the problem is this part is what it does. Whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you may destroy target permanent that opponent controls. Now, a lot of our stuff is creatures, which is why I'm just kind of like right now. Okay, and it involves them actually destroying that non-creature permanent. So we don't have like I would throw it into like a maybe board just to see like what our final count is. Because if we have like 30 creatures, yeah, Karmic Justice is kind of pointless. But if we have like 20 creatures, but like 30 like artifacts or enchantments or things that are non-creatures, then it's something that we might consider.
Yeah, I mean, the things to consider there is that we are playing enchantment creatures, which are much easier to destroy. But our real biggest threat, because remember, Yuna recurs stuff, so we can get things back. The biggest threat is stuff like a farewell or something that's going to exile our creatures. So,
so we want protection.
So that I don't think is enough of a deterrent. Like people will play exile removal and then they'll be like, your thing is just gone, so you can't get it back now, and they'll happily trade something for that just to get whatever that big thing is gone. It might be better for us to try and have protection that will stop them from exiling the stuff if we can avoid it. So that's why I was saying like some of the stuff we might want to play is going to be things like a Teferi's protection or something that phases our creatures out. That's a little bit more expensive.
Too basic.
Because I mean, stuff like a farewell is just going to wipe us out completely, and we can't have that happen. We're going to need like at least 4 things that are going to deal, and we can leave it to other people to decide what that is going to be. But yeah, that's my recommendation there. We can think about it a little bit, what we would put in there. I've got a few things, but I didn't pick the expensive stuff, so.
I wanna. What are we looking at for our removal here? I want to get into some of our token things.
Yeah, so I think we've got enough removal now. We can always go back to it later. I don't think it's important to go too far. We've already got some synergy stuff that self-sacrifices that we can get back. We've got stuff that's instant speed. I think that's fine.
Okay,
so yeah, next.
So you want to move into protection?
No, creatures. It's
we
creature
can leave
time.
Protection for last.
It's creature time. I've waited long enough.
So
yeah, throw your Colossus.
No.
Generation.
Yeah,
or like enchantment creature.
Generation, because I want to be able to use our commander's ability to bring things back. So, number one, I want to throw in Assemble the Entmoot. This is 3 and a green. Creatures you control have reach. Phenomenal. Sacrifice it. Create 3 tapped XX green tree folk creature tokens, where X the amount of life you gain this turn. Put a reach counter on each of them. We have a lifelink commander that's giving us all lifelink. We can make these huge ents whenever we want, right?
Yep. I like it.
And reach is nice.
That's silly. That's fun.
I'd like to throw in the what is the name of it? Like From Beyond and Awakening Zone.
Okay.
Because they give us creatures. They give us ramp. Neither of them really sacrifice. I'll put both of them as maybe for now.
Well, From Beyond sacrifices to tutor and Eldrazi, so
yeah, but we don't have mini Eldrazi, right? I'm gonna throw
Yeah.
them maybe board because I just like them personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they synergize enough specifically with ours. I
Yeah.
do think
I'll
uh,
give you a couple that are definitely better
what
for what we're trying to do.
one sec here. I do want to throw in Midsummer Revel though. So Midsummer Revel is a nice cheap card, 50 cents. It's 3 double
Mm-hmm.
green during your upkeep. You can put a verse counter on it. Pay a green, sack it, put X green beast tokens into play where X is the number of verse counters on it. They're 3/3 green creatures. Um,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, because we can recur this really easy with our commander.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're pretty insulated from if we need to get creatures back pretty quickly, we can. If somebody tries to blow this up, we can blow it up ourselves at any point.
Yep.
But being able to get it back,
Yeah,
but
I
just
like it.
something
I
that's
would,
going to sit there.
yeah, I would consider that like either like just for fun or maybe just because like it is 5 mana. It's slow because you have to put a verse counter on your upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, if you go by how many turns are we going to play, and how many counters is going to get on it, then maybe it's going to be at 3 or 4. Maybe you do a bit of proliferate to try and get it higher, but then we need a proliferate strategy. So I do like it because at the very least you get one creature, and I don't like we're going to
So
have a lot of mana, so maybe we get to it in turn 3 or 4. So
so I would rather consider something like Soaring Lightbringer instead. Because Soaring Lightbringer is a 4 and a white. It's an enchantment creature, Bird Glimmer. Okay, has flying. It so other enchantment creatures you control have flying. So all of our creatures that are enchantments, they're going to gain flying at the same time. So now they're
mhm.
going to be flying, trample, lifelink with Ward 2,
Oh yeah.
right? And then on top of that, whenever you attack a player, create a 1/1 white glimmer enchantment creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. So it's generating it. Sure, that 1/1 can probably die, but at that point in time, it's flying, lifelink, trample with Ward 2.
yeah, I like
Yep.
that one. I
We can also go
really one sec.
hallowed
One,
haunting there.
one quick second. I do want to say a lot of the stuff is because I want to throw this card in. I was saving this for a
Okay.
little bit,
Okay.
Sherman. Let me read you guys this one that I want to throw in here. So this is Nature's Blessing. Um, Nature's Blessing I wanted to put in the deck specifically because we're brewing with Sherman and because it works so great with us. This is an enchantment for 2/1 white, 1 green. You pay 1 in the green, choose and discard a card from your hand. You have target creature gain banding, first strike, or trample, or a 1/1. So
I like it.
we can pump our stuff, but we can also toss those bigger enchantments out and get them back
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
very easy.
Hmm. If you can, I
And
mean, it's kind of
banding.
like ramping one thing onto the battlefield. Yeah, I like it.
But you get banding. It's so
You
defensive. That's
choose.
the
You
best part
choose.
about it.
You get to choose.
Oh,
So
but
you
Sherman's
can
choosing
choose first
banding.
strike
You
or
choose
trample or
banding. You
banding.
always choose banding.
See, now I'm speaking your language, right, Sherman?
I like it.
You always choose banding. There is no other choice, Thunder. Banding is the way to go.
But you can use it multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So you can just keep. You're going to use it once for banding and once for a counter or first strike.
No, no, no. Banding only. No, yeah.
See now
That
If it
one
gets
man,
that
I
good,
gave it
we do
banding
banding
five
twice. I
times.
don't care.
yeah. Now I've
uh,
got Sherman's attention. Now you see the vision with these bigger enchantments.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the bigger enchantments. I'm just saying, like with like this summer revel, it's just like it comes down to like okay, like even if you throw down early on turn 4, okay, how long does your average game go? Like it depends on the play group, right? So if your
yeah,
play group is more aggressive and it's like you're pushing like a 7 or 8 turn game, Midsummer Revel only gets basically one activation and that's it. But if
yeah,
your game is going like like turn 10 to 12 or something like that, like they're longer and more like Battle Cruiser Magic, then Midsummer Revel is going to be more of a useful card because of
sure.
that. So
That's
So
really
let's
quickly. When I look at like things, I do have Hallowed Haunting on here too. And when I look
yeah,
at like Hallowed Haunting versus Midsummer Revel, obviously a Hallowed Haunting wins out, right?
yeah. So this is
yeah.
really a cost thing. Like the Hallowed Haunting is obviously a bit more expensive. So you got to do what you. works with your play group and your budget. So
To
yeah,
be,
and then there's also
to be fair, right now we're only around $90. We're okay for the moment.
we'll see.
With 25 cards left.
I like that. We'll
With
see.
25 cards left.
Yeah, so I like Sigil of the Empty Throne as well.
That's
So
great. Yep.
that's 3 into white for an enchantment, and whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel token with flying. We definitely want those. It's not super synergistic with the commander, but it's still a generator.
Hmm.
Um,
So
my
if we're gonna have that, are we gonna throw in things like the a Johnny one, whatever it's called, or the Pegasus one?
I like the Pegasus.
well, you can, yeah.
Pegasus is
Archon of Sun's
Archon.
It's like,
Grace.
yeah, Archon of Sun Grace, and the other one's
Mm.
gonna be, well, here, let me read out
This,
Archon of Sun's Grace first. So
yeah,
the Archon of Sun's Grace, 2 double white, Archon, 3/4, blind, lifelink. Pegasus creatures you control have lifelink. As Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. So we're throwing so many enchantments out there. We're gonna
yep,
get stuff. And the
exactly.
other one, what? Sorry.
Arasta, Arasta.
I I was thinking of
Oh,
Johnny's Chosen.
I really quickly.
Okay,
Um.
I really quickly. I do
So
have Arasta on my list too. I wanted to throw that in, just because
yeah,
I love it.
Arasta is
It's one
pretty
of my
good.
right.
Yeah,
favorite cards. Let me read this one and then we do our Johnny's. So Arasta is 2 double green, 3/5 legendary enchantment creature spider. Whenever an opponent casts a spell or instant, create a 1/2 green spider token with reach. Sorry. Please
Yeah,
carry on.
that's always gonna generate something for you every time. And then yeah, the one I was thinking of was the Johnny's Chosen was 2 double white creature cat soldier 3/3. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white cat creature token. That enchantment isn't aura. You may attach it to the token.
Yeah, I like a Johnny shows, and
So
it's normal good one.
yeah. I've got
we're at
another one that's a little bit. It's got a little bit of price to it. It might be more in areas like Calgary, but where there's a bit more of a constrained supply. But it's very strong. So Spring Heart Nantuko.
Yep, I have that one on mine too. That's a great one.
Yeah. So a colorless and a green for an charming creature, insect monk, which you can bestow for a colorless and a green. And the enchanted creature gets +1/+1. It itself is just a 1/1 when it falls off. And landfall, whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, you may pay a colorless and a green. And if it's attached to a creature you control, then you create a token that's a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. So you're always going to get something out of that as long as you got the mana. We should have the mana in this, let's be honest. And yeah, this thing goes on to one of the really nice and charming creatures, then sure. Then it's just going to go fill the board up and do horrible things to people.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, I'm just putting more things
okay.
on this side here. You guys carry on.
So we're at 80 cards here. We have one for this card. We have 12 ramp, 10 generation and tokens.
Yeah, I got one
Ramping
more
12.
generation thing that I think should. I mean, you can put a Calyx in here as well, but Primeval Bounty. I really love this card,
Oh,
especially in here.
yeah, that's good.
So Primeval Bounty, 5 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 3/3 beast creature token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. And then whenever a land you control enters, you gain 3 life. So that's always going to give you something. And it relies on cost, so it doesn't really synergize all that much with the commander's recursion. But I still think, just from a value perspective, it's an enchantment. If it gets destroyed, it can come back quite easily with her. And every time I play this, people want to remove it because it's too much value. So
I do have one more that I want to throw into this section before we move, and it's because I have one and I haven't put it in a deck yet. So this
Okay.
is the Green
Uh-oh.
Overlord. Overlord of the Hauntwoods. 3 double green. It's an enchantment creature, avatar horror, 6/5. It has the impending 4. You can cast it for its impending. It comes down with time counters, yada, yada, yada. But when it attacks or enters, you create a tapped land token that is named everywhere that is every basic land type.
Look at the price.
It must be in the deck. I have one, and it's got to go in.
Sure. Poor Daniel.
I have nowhere to put it yet.
Yeah, I mean another one we can put in the maybe board, but I think it might actually synergize a little better than some of the other generators. Is Heliod, God of the Sun? It's
Yep.
actually here in Europe. It's under €1. Enchantment creature, God, indestructible, devotion to wise less than 5. Then it isn't a creature, but it's a 5/6. Other creatures you control have vigilance, which works perfectly with what we're doing. But it can also make uh, for 2 and 2 white, it can create a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token. So that I think works very good with the commander because it can just keep making more enchantment creatures.
Yep. I threw in the sideboard, the White Overlord. I do have that one in a bunch of decks. It's very fun. It's just a
Mist Lords,
sideboard one. Yeah, it's that one is 5 double white, so very expensive. It's got an impending for 4, but it's when it enters or attacks, you create 2/1 white insects with flying. Again, more on the expensive side, so I just threw it in the maybe board because I like it personally. I don't
yeah,
know if it's good enough to be in the main board of what we're doing
that
because
card is so annoying.
yeah, we seem pretty efficient with a lot of what it is so far, right? Like we've got a
Mhm.
pretty low curve.
I mean, think about getting one of those overlords and then putting the Spring Honda and Tuca on them, and you just make copies every
E-
time I land into.
Exactly, because they are not legends.
Yeah, very annoying.
Okay. So, question: we have all of our categories pretty much taken care of. We're at
Except for
83
one.
cards.
We
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 have
do need
12 in
some
draw,
protection.
13. Yeah, we need protection. All right, so let's focus on protection. How many cards we look at for
Well,
protection? Like five,
I wasn't
six?
really meaning protection.
Okay,
I was rather we need a way to like properly win. Like we got a lot of value here, right? We can go wide, sure, but
some
we
wins.
don't have something that can really hammer home what we're doing.
I have two for
So
the win board.
we need like a pump it up type section here.
So
I
one
think.
one one second. I like the pump it up, but I do have two that I want to suggest. They're probably going to get maybe boarded. Both are expensive, but one is
Mhm.
Opalescence because it's nice to drop down and overrun
You can like
everyone with
find
our
a value.
enchantments. And the other Starfield of Nyx for the exact same. I think Starfield of Nyx is pretty expensive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, another $20.
Okay.
I
So do you want to read those cards for us?
Yeah, so Opalescence is 2 double white. Each other enchantment is a creature with power and toughness equal to its CMC. It's still an enchantment. So again, very easy for us in this very enchantment heavy deck to smash face after a board wipe. Or Starfield of Nyx is 4 and a white. Beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield, doing what our commander does. And then, as long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature with power and toughness equal to its mana value. I think you're thinking more of or like anthems.
Yeah, I've got a couple that will really like make our opponents squeal.
Yeah, so like I said, I threw both of those into the maybe board. Starfield of Nyx is it's expensive, but it's not. It's very good, and it's doing what our commander wants to do, but it might be a little too expensive to leave into the list. So I just have it over there. It's a pricey card at $20, right?
Yeah. My suggestions are much cheaper, trust me.
Let's do that. Okay, so let's
But
make an
they
anthem
they
section.
do they yeah they'll get the nail hammered deep into the coffin.
Okay,
So
okay,
first is collective blessing.
yep,
3 2 green and a white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +3/+3. So yep.
yeah, yep. It's
And
pretty good.
another very good one, which is a recent card which I don't see people playing, but it really needs to see play, especially in a deck like this, is Demolisher Spawn, and this is from the Dustmourn set. So 5 and 2 green for a enchantment creature horror, which is a 7/7. It's trample and haste, and it's got Delirium. Whenever Demolisher Spawn attacks, if there are 4 or more card types amongst cards in your graveyard, other attacking creatures get +4/+4 until end of turn.
That's quite the anthem.
So it's got haste. I mean, you can just like slam this down and everybody's just dead. So I think it's really good with the commander,
Yeah, I'm okay with that one.
Yeah. And then two others, and then one interesting one. So Jazal Goldmane. Um,
Love it.
what I like about Jazal is in this case is he's got first strike, which is good. 4/4. He's 2 white for a 4/4 cat warrior, legendary creature. But his ability is basically kind of like a supercharged overrun, but without the trample. But if you've got your commander out and enchantment creatures, then it's fine. So 3 and 2 white attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So that can get really big in this deck, especially if we're going wide with the tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last big one, because these all reasonably cost a lot of mana to make work, card is Nixos Paragon. 4/2 white for an enchantment creature, human soldier. It's a 4/6. And whenever you gain life, you may put that many +1/+1 counters on each creature you control.
Yep.
You can only do this once per turn. So keep in mind, if your creatures, I mean, the Yuna ability only applies in our turn. So we're only going to probably do this with her ability once, maybe. But if you've got life linkers or other means to gain life in your opponent's turn, you can trigger there as well. So then you get extra counters like that. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I would throw in, if we're going with Anthem stuff, I would throw in Boon of the Spirit Realm. So it's a 3 double white. It's an enchantment. It has constellation. So when Boon of the Spirit Realm or another enchantment enters the battlefield, which should happen for our deck, believe it or not, there's a high chance that will happen. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a blessing counter on the Boon of the Spirit Realm. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each blessing counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm.
Yeah, that's very good. It'll build up constantly over time, which is, I mean, if Yuna's out, every turn she's out, it's going to give +1/+1. This one's probably, yeah, I could see this one just, if the longer the game goes on, your opponent's just dead.
Yeah.
The crazier it gets, the more dead they're going to be.
Yeah. The last little one, it's not as good as these others, but it's an older card that I thought was pretty neat. Quest for the Gem Blades. So a colorless and a green for an enchantment, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a creature, you may put a quest counter on Quest for the Gem Blades. So a creature you control deals combat damage to a creature, your opponent is blocking or something, right? So they might be incentivized not to block because of this, but you can remove a quest counter from Quest for the Gem Blades and sacrifice it to put 4+1/+1 counters on target creature. So
yeah,
with that, it goes to the graveyard, and then Yuna gets it back, and then you can do it again. So it's going to make it's almost like an unblockable thing. Like your opponent will probably not want to block, especially if it's an enchantment creature with trample, and you can just slowly build, potentially like hold this as like a threat. Like it's cheap, you can get it back easy, it sacrifices itself potentially. So it's just this weird little politicsy kind of card that can make the game a bit more interesting. So just cool little card I found.
I don't mind that one. For anthems, go ahead.
I got well, it's not really an anthem kind of, but like it is a game ender in a sense, and it's kind of mean. It's high costing. I don't know if you want to be that person or not, but there's overwhelming splendor for 6 double white. Enchantment is a Nora, it's a curse. You enchant a player. Creatures enchanted player controls lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 1/1. The enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. So you throw it on. Hear me out. You throw it on one person, you kill them. Overwhelming Splendor goes to the graveyard. Yuna says, "Hey, you get an enchantment back." You throw it on the next person. You attack with everything. You kill them. Overwhelming Splendor is graveyard.
So
You bring
mean.
it back with Yuna and you cast it
I'm
again.
not just gonna kill you. I'm gonna torture you first and then kill you.
I'll put overwhelming
I'm
splendor in the
just
maybe
saying.
board. It's mean.
I'm just saying. We can't be that person.
If
So
you want something, it's a little anthemy, but it also gives a little recursion. Then maybe go Valkyrie's Call. It's also not too expensive, like 3 and 2 white for enchantment. Whenever a non-token, non-angel creature you control dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It has flying and is an angel in addition to its types. So if someone kills our commander, it comes back, right? So and then it's flying as well with a counter. So it's a neat little semi recursion. If it's an angel and dies and it's an enchantment, you can still get it back with Yuna. So this is one of those cards. It's just like I think it's a little bit more fun.
I like it.
That
I
was a really good card. That's a strong card.
I threw both in maybe board.
Yeah.
I feel like they're good maybe ones.
We,
Where
we
go ahead.
oh, I'm saying we're at we have 11 cards left to go through. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a few that I think would be solid to like round some of this stuff out. So
okay,
let me. Number one is I want to put in Defenders of Humanity into this list. I'm still thinking some more creatures for these big anthem kind of pumps.
Sure.
Defenders of Humanity is X2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, create X2/2 white Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance, and then you can pay it again. Exile it, so we can't get it back, sadly. But we can activate only if we control no creatures and only during our turn. So if somebody does board wipe us, we have a board we can reset our board entirely quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. You hold that in your hand to the right situation, I think. But yeah, that's good.
we should look into some protection though. We keep on saying we're looking into it, but we don't.
Yeah, we can maybe put like 4 protection items, and if you want more, then you can go to like 8. But I think because protection is usually reactionary or just sit back, it's not as much of a fun thing to do. But we definitely want to
Yeah,
cater for what happens if
Um,
somebody tries to knock us out completely, and we want to deal with that.
I do have a few other just really quick creature ones. Again, I'm simple minded. I'm simple minded. I was looking at
We
creatures.
said protection. He's thinking creatures.
So I wanted to put Historian's Boon in. It's 3 and a white. Whenever it or another non-token enchantment you control enters, you create a 1/1 white soldier, which is that's everything our deck is doing, right? Is just going to constantly keep making us these. So I'm going to put it into our generation. Again, we're heavy with generation. If there's
So that's good.
we.
go ahead, Sherman.
No, I'm saying like if like we might have to cut down on generation.
Never.
But that's why I work with these numbers. Like 12 is my limit. So even if I find like 16 or 20 cards, I pick 12 of them, and that's the slot. And I try and balance that based on costs and what the expectations are. Yeah. So
I mean that's fair.
protection. Let's try and get some protection in.
All right, outside of
Yeah.
Life's Bounty.
Sorry, what bounty?
Outside of Life's Bounty, it's a 1 mana enchantment creature nymph for 1. So 1 white, 1/1 lifelink. You pay 1, sack it. Target creature or enchantment you control gains protection for the color of choice.
Yeah. So someone targets your thing, tries to exile it. You use that as protection. But the problem with it is your opponent knows it's there. So then they're like, okay, this is not. I'm not wasting on your stuff then, which
Well,
can be a problem for the whole table.
a
And then
nice
they'll turn
deterrent,
on
yeah.
you. So that's a potential. It's 1 white mana, but that turns the whole table on you. So you got to be careful.
That's fair. I like it as a deterrent. You know that I'm going to save my creature, so send your removal elsewhere.
Yeah, you can use it also to get a creature in to do damage because you can give protection from whatever the person can block with. So you can use it as an offensive thing as well.
We have room for 8 more cards. I have 1 that has to go in the deck. I was closing
Uh-oh.
tabs. 1 has to go in. It's Weaver of Harmony.
Okay.
I don't know what section to put it in. It's just other enchantment creatures you control get 1/1. All right, cool. But you pay 1 green, tap it, copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an enchantment source. You can choose new
Yeah,
targets.
you can put it in anthems, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
I'm done adding
I
nonsense. Protection away.
okay. So I still think Semester's End is decent for us because if we include the Weaver of Harmony, then we're at 30 creatures for our deck, which is a decent chunk.
Hmm.
So something like Semester's End would definitely help because we can just phase out. We'll lose some enchantments if someone tries to like destroy all enchantments kind of deal, but still we'll at least keep our creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a one card that I've been trying to play around with, and I haven't really been able to play with yet. It's called Planar Guide. So, Planar. You want? I should read what the other
Yes.
one does first. So, Semester's End. Where the heck do you have it under?
I
Where did you
put it
put
in
it?
protection.
Okay, so Semester's End is a 3 and a white instant. Exile any number of target creatures and/or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker. So our creatures will save our creatures, and they'll come back, and they'll be bigger. And then whoever tried to kill us, we're gonna or board wipe us, we're gonna kill them
Hmm.
because all of our stuff is bigger.
Yep.
Okay. The second one was the planar guide. This one's iffy. I'm trying to play around with it. It's just I haven't gotten it in my hand enough times to play around with it to have like a good feel for how good this is, if it is good or not. But it's for 1 white, it's a cleric that's a 1/1. So it's a creature. For 3 and a white, you exile the planar guide from like period. Okay, like this is an old card, so it's like older text. It says remove planar guide from the game, so you exile it. Then you remove all creatures from the game. At the end of turn, return those cards to play under their owner's control. So you're blinking all the creatures, not just yours, all your opponents as well. So it's a risk. However, they all come back. So
Well,
you
the
exile them, they all come back,
non-tokens
except for
come back.
planar guide.
Oh
Sorry?
yeah.
The non-tokens come back.
Yeah, not tokens. Yeah, so like tokens would just disappear, but like still, it's something that it's a work in progress. I haven't really played
Mm.
around with it yet, but this is something that I'm looking into. And with token generation, I'm not too worried about just because like tokens will come back again. I'm not worried at all.
You can generate more. It'll be fine.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
this
because like as like enchantment
Constellation is
enters,
on ETB, so everything coming in at the same time. If there's enchantment creatures, like it's just going to generate a bunch of extra stuff anyway. So I think it'll be fine.
yeah. So we should technically overpower the board because of that. So like even if we exile, everyone has like 5 creatures, and we exile everyone. Your opponents all have 5 creatures total. Ours will be like okay, we'll have 5, but with all of our token generation at the same time, it might actually be like more like 10 or 12 or something like that. So we should overpower everyone on the board just from the board state and just plow through one person at a time. And as we do that, we're gaining life from the lifelink from the battle. So even
Mhm.
if we're not really worried about repercussions at that point in time.
Yeah, I suspect this deck will gain a ton of life. Like
Mm-hmm.
that life
Yeah.
is gonna really hit hard. How about a privileged position? I always had this like fantasy when it first came out way back in the day of having like 4 in a deck in my standard deck, and I just like overlap them, and then you can't target anything. Bit silly, but 2 and 3, either green or white, any combination of those. 5 mana total. For enchantment, other permanents you control have hexproof. That protects all of our other permanents. So you have to kill it first to kill the other things. It doesn't help you with the board wipe, but it helps you with all targeted removal.
Yep.
If we're gonna have that, we can also have like Shalai Voice of Plenty, because that is
Mm-hmm.
still a creature, so we still get stuff in. It does pump our stuff if we have excess mana for 6 mana. You know what? Let me just read it out.
Yep.
So Shalai Voice of Plenty for 3 and a white, legendary creature Angel. It's a 3/4. It has flying. You and planeswalkers you control have, I'm sorry, and other creatures you control have hexproof. And then for 4 and double green, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So it can get out of hand. It can be an anthem. It is kind of protection at the same time. It is flying, so it can get in and like defend and hit people. So like it's like all around a good card, and it's
Yep.
not bad. Like they reprinted it again, so it's like under like it's $1.50 from looking at it here. So
Yeah. How about an annoying little thing? I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with stuff that's like you have protection or you have hexproof, like as the player. But I've had games where people are like, wait, I can't target you. Darn, this doesn't work.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. So maybe Aegis of the Gods or Aegis of the Gods, 1 and a white for an enchantment creature, human soldier. It's a 2/1, and it gives you hexproof.
Yeah.
Very simple.
like that.
Um, and with the anthems, it becomes much better, obviously. So
Okay.
Okay, so with all this protection, do we care about throwing in things like Sphere of Safety or not?
Nah. It's too common. I see it in too many enchantment decks. We get it. It's good.
Like, then what about if we want to throw in something more fun? Hang on, let me look up see what was. Is it called this? I'll get back to you guys. I gotta
okay, so
find this card first.
I
I can't
got
remember
I
the
got
name.
two cards that can help us with the problem we run into with the finality counters.
Okay.
Um, so the first one is probably the best one. It's Power Conduit. It's a 2 mana artifact, and you can tap and use it to remove a counter from a permanent you control, and then you get to choose one. Put a charge counter on target artifact, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. In this deck, it's going to always put a counter. And what's nice is it doesn't have to be the same thing that you remove it from. You can just put a counter on your commander or put a counter somewhere else, but it removes the finality counter. That's pretty good. So
Yep.
um, and then the second one is, just give me a moment, I got to get to it. Ferropede. Again, it's an artifact creature. It's an artifact. 3 mana for a 1/1. It's unblockable. And whenever Ferropede deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a counter from target permanent. So it's actually a bit like, oh, your opponent's got a planeswalker, you can remove a loyalty counter, or you can remove a finality counter. And it's unblockable, so if you were to play more auras that pump up things, or it gets anthemed, which it's probably gonna get anthemed in this deck, then it's gonna be like hammering hard because it's unblockable. You know, I think it will just work in the deck.
Yep.
So then, with if we ever do worry about finality counters, you know what? No, Solemnity runs the risk of going infinite for other people too high. So let's not throw in Solemnity.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
there is a card
but
that when I try to put it in, I was immediately warned it's a 2 card combo. So I can mention that. We can read it. I'll have to turn my head sideways because it's from Duskmorn and it's a room. um, but it's apparently it combos. I didn't think it through, but it does look really strong. So if you're okay with that, we can put it in the maybe board for those people who want the aura shard or game changer types. But it's Secret Arcade and Dusty Parlor. So Secret Arcade is it's room obviously. You go to two rooms. The first door is Secret Arcade, 4 and a white, and non-land permanents you control and permanent spells you control are enchantments in addition to their other types. So this is one of those ones that can just make everything an enchantment.
Okay.
Then the other side is Dusty Parlor, 2 and a white. So if you open this door, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that spell's mana value on up to one target creature. So it does the pump side of things. So it's really strong. But there's apparently two other things in the deck or that we've talked about that it combos with somehow, and like it's an infinite combo or something. So it would push
But
the bracket all the way up.
That's fair. Hmm.
okay, so hear me out on this one. We don't see this one often because, well, it's hard to find. I don't know about you guys. I only have one copy, and that's it. But it's Mystic Barrier. Okay, so it's not quite Sphere of Safety, but it's more fun in a sense. But it's like it's a 4-in-1 enchantment. When Mystic Barrier enters the battlefield or at the beginning of your upkeep, choose left or right. Each player may attack only the opponent's seated nearest to him or her in the last chosen direction, and planeswalkers controlled by that player. So you're just, it's like the Jeskai wall, right? So you're just choosing which direction everyone attacks. So it's kind of protection, kind of not. But that way, it once again, like we're gonna probably build a huge force. It's too much for one person to handle, but not big enough for all three people to not be able to handle. So if we can limit it where it's just almost like a 1-on-1 battle, then it should make us more guaranteed, like a higher chance of winning because of that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still don't like the pillow forts, because we're not pillow fort with most of it, right? Like
Yeah.
otherwise we would go like the ghostly prison, the kind of
I
things, right?
yeah, I'd try and go for something that's a bit more properly protect us ourselves rather than pillow
Uh,
forting.
I still throw it into maybe board
we're,
because
we're
we're
going to be gaining a lot of life, so
with
I
two
don't
left.
know if we care about stopping people hitting us. Um, we'll hit them back
We just need
very
one more
hard as
card.
well. So
No. So I moved it over to maybe board. So we have two slots left.
We have 2 slots left. All right. So what do we have here? We have like
Yeah, let's
5
look at
of protection.
put an archetype of courage in there. It will encourage us to attack. So archetype of courage is 1 and 2 white for an enchantment creature human soldier. It's a 2/2. Creatures you control have first strike. Creatures your opponents control lose first strike and can't have or gain first strike.
Sure, I like that one.
So yeah, it will make the game a little bit more aggressive for us. First strike is one of those things a lot of people underestimate. It is very hard to have to block when you've got anthems and lifelink and trample and stuff happening. So yeah, I think it's a nice way of just making things harder for my opponents.
I have one maybe unorthodox. This is not a protection card. Again, I'm simple minded. I'm thinking tokens. But what if we just throw in like a rampage of the clans? Because we were talking about if people are going to destroy our enchantments. What if we run roughshod over our enchantments and we flip our list into 3/3 green centaurs?
We can do
Yeah,
that.
it can work. Like if someone else is gonna exile all enchantments or something. Then you whip this out, and it's like, I don't have enchantments anymore. What are you talking
Well,
about?
the other thing too is that especially after like a board wipe, we're going to be sitting pretty nice with all of that. Being able
Mhm.
to being able to rampage the clans before our turn starts, we might be left with like 15, 20 3/3s, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You
It
guys
can
like
it
that
can
one?
do some work. It can do some work.
Again, we might be too thick on the token generating things. You guys, I get it. Not everyone only wants to build tokens. I understand, but up to you guys. Like, what do you guys think of where our list sits right now, like token wise? Where do we want an archetype of courage? By the way, technically anthems.
Yeah, I consider things like that as an anthem as well. Even though it's not pumping stuff up, it's still giving an ability to everything. So I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think
I
it's got enough to do a lot of stuff. The reason why I pick the number 12 is because if you look at the numbers, the percentages underneath the deck
mhm.
in the architect ratios, you'll see that 12 cards is actually a reasonable probability of getting one or two of those in your game.
Yep.
So that means we've got a nice balanced set of strategies here. And that's really what we're aiming for. We want to balance those probabilities out. Stuff that's like our remove counters strategy, which is only two. I think we can only really have two of those. I don't know many other uh,
There's like one offs
shenanigans with
that do it
counter
one
removal.
time, but
Yeah, but these are the best. So those, I feel like you have to have them. I'd like to have more if possible, but that we can expand later to at least four.
mhm.
Four is my minimum of like, if you've got less than four of a card in the deck, it's just you're hardly going to see it. So you want at least four, unless you've got like tutors and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good balanced deck from what I can see.
We could always take out as well. If anyone has one more, we can throw away this nature's blessing. But I do really like the idea of giving stuff banding because it's so brutal to have to. It's such a good anti-trample card.
Yep.
I attack you with trample. Okay, well you do 60 damage to my one creature.
How about hmm,
Oh, no,
one
no, no. Sorry,
last thing
sorry.
that we
I I
throw in?
I do have to think of one last. What's his name? What's his name? It's sorry. Oh, Scholar of New Horizons. Sorry.
What does
Okay.
it do?
This one removes counters. I forgot all about this one. I'm just gonna.
Well,
I'll figure this out in a second.
is it
But
creature or?
yeah,
That's a
it's
very new card.
no. There's
Oh
an
my
old version of it.
goodness. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because this
It's
is
from
really
Brothers
good.
War Commander. Yeah.
Wow.
Enters with a
Yeah, you
1/1 on
see.
it. Remove a counter from a permanent you control. Search your library for a planes. Reveal it. If an opponent controls more lands, you can put it on the battlefield if you don't put it into your hand. But that also is like a
I like it.
finality counter one. I'll get rid of
Yeah.
token generators for other things. That one's worth.
Yeah. I like this one.
All right, let's do that one instead.
No. You give me yours because we're already over, so I already have to remove a card from this token generator. So I'm gonna remove
Oh,
Defenders of Humanity over to here. Okay. What was your suggestion though, Sherman? The last one?
oh no, I was trying to think of what else we could throw in. So, but like, I'm good with whatever we have.
Yeah, I think I think it looks pretty good. The I think the Scholar is a good replacement for that Astartes one, just because removing those counters is going to be so nice.
Yes. So like you get your big thing back. Um, we might find like when now because now we've got the rough list here, right? And I mean we can worry about lands and stuff as well, but we can do a test set of games with this to see how it feels. And we might feel like that other enchantment that you added, that old one that discards, we might feel like actually we want to be able to discard more easily because we're going to use all of our mana to get our commander out. and then we want to immediately get value, and we want to discard something in our hand like early to make sure we gain that value. So then the finale counter removal and discard becomes more important. Then we change our strategies a bit and we remove some things and increase discard and make that a proper strategy in the deck. So we might find that kind of thing happening during test play. Um, and that's where I like using the system, because then the way I work is in multiples of four. So it's like, okay, I'll remove 4 items from this 16 card strategy and I'll drop it to 12, and then I'll add 4 to one of the other ones and try and make that more effective.
That's fair.
Yeah, so
Like I said, I'm
uh,
always simple minded. I'm like, tokens seem fun, so tokens it will be.
all tokens. And it's like, oh, but I can't play my spells. Wait, I need ramp.
Yeah. I think it seems like a really fun deck so far. I did find the one my memory has come to me, but the card you were thinking earlier, Sherman, clever concealment, 2 double white, any number of target non-land permanents you control phase out. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Honestly,
yes.
maybe we put that into the protection and cut down one more token generator because
Well,
oh go ahead.
what we can do is, and this is the other thing of using the working in these strategy totals, is you don't need to necessarily remove one of the other strategies. If it's better, like strictly better than one of the existing protection items, just replace one of those, because we have a reasonable amount of protection. We don't know if we want to have more than what we
I'm
already have.
I'm gonna
So
trade
you
Shalai
just
for that one then.
trade. So yeah.
I'll move Shalai over. What do you mean you failed to save changes? What are we talking about? There we
Uh
go.
oh.
Yeah. There. So I moved Shalai over just because that clever concealment does deal with that problem we were talking about of if
Yeah,
someone's
you
gonna
lose
wipe
stuff.
our
Lose
wipe our
counters,
enchantments.
lose
Yeah.
tokens. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. This unit
Okay
deck
with
looks
that.
super fun to play. I could see so many fun like versions of this Yuna, like so many different ways to play it. I
Yeah.
wish that there was more copy or commander effects in this. Like you could put in a Helm of the Host, but it's just not enough for our strategy, right?
Yeah, because I mean that only synergizes with her end step trigger,
Yeah,
but you can
exactly.
use a Strionic Resonator or something like that to get more out of her.
Yeah.
And maybe that is worth having 4 cards that do that in here. Like we've already got the one, but we need her to be an enchantment then, so that it can
Mm-hmm.
react off her. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things where it's you got to play it, see how it feels. Um, I have a feeling that in her current state, it's gonna be you're gonna get maybe 3 or 4 triggers or things out of the graveyard with her. So it's not gonna be as much as most people will initially think.
I've got it.
So amplification would help for sure. But is it worth it? Because I mean, look at the cards we put in here. There's so much value from the card draw, from everything being enchantment. Um, she just has to be there, and then now we're gaining a bunch of life, and we got some protection on our turn. That's good. So maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you're happy with just 1 or 2 things coming out the graveyard with her, and the rest is just we draw into it because we're going to draw a lot.
Yeah. I'm sitting here just doing a random test game, and it seems actually pretty solid so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
fair.
if people run into issues like, uh, my opponents all suddenly, because I'm playing Yuna all the time because it's my new deck, they just increase their enchantment and artifact removal. Then you can swap over to your instants and sorceries and just like take some of the enchantments out, put a bit more diversity in just to get around that issue.
Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly. I hadn't done any of the land sections, so I'm just gonna add a few more. We've got 34 lands in there. I would never, but I know Thunder likes it. I know Thunder likes at least 34.
35.
35
But we,
Thunder.
we, we can we can be clever and go with those MDFCs that's like land on one side or something else. And now with the new Final Fantasy, all these things are like 10 plus euros. They're like a land, but also like a adventure. I don't know how that works, but um, yeah, it looks like we're getting ability extra spell lands. Like it's yeah,
Yeah.
we can do the oops no lands golos type where everything is MDFC and it's either a land or something else.
I like that. The like I said, I like where this list is at. I'm just throwing in a few quick basically lands like the cheaper ones.
Yeah, Gavany Township should probably go in there because that just can keep putting counters on things.
Also, a
Um,
reliquary is important in this. We
the
do a
nesting ground is very important as well
nesting
because
grounds.
it moves. Yeah, so nesting grounds is a colorless producing land, so it taps for colorless. But you can pay one, tap it, and move a counter from target permanent you control onto a second target permanent. It
Uh,
doesn't say
uh,
second target permanent you control.
oh, so you can give other
So
people the.
those finality counters suddenly become a problem for other players.
That's pretty funny. I was gonna say
Yeah.
I would just put them on Yuna. It doesn't matter if she gets exiled. I
Yeah,
like
I,
your
I'd
game plan
definitely
better.
put it on my opponent's stuff.
We need a terramorphic. Yeah, I think this seems like a really fun list. I'd actually probably build something like this too. This and both the ones we've done today. That Sephiroth from earlier, or from last week. Wink, wink. But the Sephiroth from earlier, I really want to build
What are
that.
you
I'm still
talking about?
yeah, I'm still like obsessed with that one. That was such a cool deck. Anyone have anything to add on this one before I wrap her up here?
No, I think
No,
we're
that's
good.
it.
All right. Well, then let me. I still got to cut more lands. It's my specialty. One. There we go. Now we have an okay land section. It looks like we actually put something into it. Okay, perfect. Let me click our button. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys for getting through another one of these libraries. I love the libraries so much. They're so fun. What I want to know what other people would put in Yuna. Like, is there other things that we missed? Is there a different direction? Why is banding the best mechanic? All of these things I'd like to hear into a comment section. If you want any of these cards, go to houseofcards.ca, promo code IT99. It's going to get you a discount. It's going to support us, support a great place, and get you cheaper cards, which is always wonderful. Like, share, subscribe. It does really, really help out. If you want to go above and beyond that, come to Patreon. It's very, very cool place to chat, build decks with. We're going to be doing more and more spell table games, as I said. So yeah, other than that, go to AI Armor Sleeves. Oh, and all of the articles are up on intoThe99.com. Thunder's who writes a lot of the articles. So check out Thunder's awesome articles on Into the 99. All of our stuff is up there as well. And with that, yeah, I say we wrap it up. I say we just let it roll. I'm gonna build this unit too, to be honest. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right, laters.